Hello, and welcome to Bull and Bear Cryptocurrency Analysis News and Education. My name is James Gore. This video is for the 21st of July 2018. Going to be jumping into our market update today in technicals and the big three and coins you asked to take a look at in the last video. And straight to the comments section after we cover some very exciting news from the space. So first things first, total market cap roughly hovering around the same level, 279 billion US dollars. Obviously found a bit of resistance at 300 billion mark, but we're still managing to hold valuation despite a lot of money leaving the altcoin space, interestingly enough. 24-hour volume is at $14 billion, with Bitcoin's dominance increasing again to 45.2%, the highest it's been for quite some time. If we take a look through the top 100, we can see most coins are seeing a pullback, single-digit pullback, but doing relatively well compared to other days where we lose valuation. Just taking a look at the biggest gainers in the market, Monaco up 9.84%, followed by VeChain up 8.31%, followed by Ethos 6.77%. If we take a quick look, there's actually quite a fair few coins doing well. Biggest loss in the top 100 is Dash, down 10.86%, followed by Moac 9.51%. So we're going to take a quick look at the chart, take a look at what's been happening to BTC, and then look at the other major players and a few altcoins. So first things first, we managed to break above the 100-day moving average on the daily chart, and we were rejected. What's very interesting about the chart at the moment, guys, is that we're actually managing to maintain a certain range. We're range trading at the moment because we've had 3 trend reversal candles in a row, except they've all led to higher highs and higher lows. And they've actually made a bit of a flag, which is very interesting because typically what you'd expect to see after a continual test of a specific level is a trend reversal candle, trend confirmation candle that we're going to see some downside. And we did get a trend confirmation candle, but it's an extremely weak one. In fact, it's actually funny enough, it's also a trend reversal candle because we broke below the level, broke below the low of yesterday's candle, which would signify that okay, things are going to trend downwards. Except the bulls were managing to drive the price back up and close the candle, even close green. So not that the color of the candle is too significant, but it's important to kind of understand what's playing out right now. So we have a few different things happening. We actually have quite a fair, strong battle between the bulls and the bears at the moment. We actually have a triple top, which is at the 100-day moving average, which is 7,600 US dollars, which is clearly a major hurdle to get over. But the key thing to watch, guys, whenever it happens, be it in a week, 2 weeks, tomorrow, or after another stronger period of consolidation and rally back up to this level, is the best thing to watch at this with the 100-day, which is relatively flat at the moment at 7,600 USD. Is the minute we close above the 100-day moving average, we're going to see a strong rally again, and we're likely to face the next resistance at the 200-day, which is this red line. Okay, so if you're a visual trader, it's the yellow line, it's the red line. That would be the kind of move we expect next. But this is actually quite interesting because bulls are managing to actually maintain a level of support. Now, what I'm going to do is just show you on this fib retracement. So came very close to the 0.236, 7,142 USD mark with the low of this bounce, not the low of this bounce, the low of this consolidation today. And obviously today's candle hasn't closed, so it could all go to pots later this evening. But all this is showing us is that at least at the 7,142 USD mark, we're actually just above it, but around this level on this fib retracement, it's actually a useful level to watch because it's showing us that well, I'll move the retrace actually because it'll make a bit more sense because we can go to the peak of the movement. It's likely to be around that level. There we go. Okay. So in the previous retracement, it's showing us that this level is actually worth paying attention to. So this is at 7,200 USD mark at the moment with the bottom of this candle. And it's a Dragonfly Doji, not the strongest Dragonfly Doji, but it's not exactly a Mariposa candle either, showing strong signs of a sell-off. So things are looking actually pretty interesting. I expect us to be range trading at the moment. I'd expect us to be kind of ping-ponging between the 7,000 to the 7.6 USD mark until we get a strong move either way. So it could be the upside or downside. Obviously, we're not trying to predict that far ahead. We're trying to respond to what the market's telling us because it means that when it comes to trading, it's a much easier game. rather than expecting a certain thing to happen, having to concern yourself with some probability. So let's see how today's candle closes on the BTC chart, and then if we continue to see breakout to the upside, likely to face resistance at the 100-day again. But we are facing a triple top, which would be suggesting to us that things kind of break down. Last piece with BTC is we actually have a flag going on as well. We have a bit of a flag, which is telling us, we have specific entries for support and resistance. If you are looking to make an entry on BTC, I say it's not really worth it at the moment. It's not very volatile, so not much to play with. But it is worth paying attention to Bitcoin so you can understand what's happening in the altcoin space as well, where there's probably going to be much more opportunity. Histogram's trending flat. RSI is about to slightly upturn, but close to overbought territory. Moving on to Ethereum, FUSD. So FUSD has a double tweezer top, and a very weak double tweezer bottom, but ultimately it's in an EQ pattern right now. Okay, so we have our low, we have our high, we have our higher low right now. So what we're looking for is a lower high to move forward, and then we can see this price compression on the daily time frame, and then expect to break the upside or downside with confirmation of increasing volume. Now again, histogram's trading flat at the moment, still but on the bullish side, and we're managing to find resistance at the 12 moving average exponential at 460 round psychological number dollars. So a few things playing against us with regards to the close of today's candle. So I wouldn't expect too much from today. However, what I would suggest is paying attention to micro pattern and more macro patterns. So the micro pattern right now is we have an inside bar / Rami candle forming. That's on this pure candle. Then just expanding out to two candles, we have a double tweezer bottom. It's not the strongest at the moment, but that would be signaling that we're going to see a bit of a bounce to the upside. But of course, you want to watch price compression first. You want to watch the inside bar / Rami candle to see how it's forming, to see how it closes, and see if we're going to break out that pattern. And then you want to kind of pay attention to this equilibrium pattern on the daily, which has been going on for, if we take a quick look, been going on for the last 9 days. So we have a few things that we can scale out and zoom out on and pay attention to that can help us kind of have an understanding where things are likely to move to tomorrow and the day after, which is likely to be upside and establishing a higher lower high moving forward. So but I wouldn't expect too much price volatility. Litecoin is showing up, but is still underperforming compared to the other top dogs in CoinMarketCap, which I'll quickly go back to when we talk a bit about Stellar Lumens at the moment. But right now, again, another coin that's an EQ pattern. But interesting enough, looks like it's found a double bottom here. It's faced the 73 USD mark for quite some time. It looks like today we have formed our higher low on EQ pattern. We had a nice trend reversal candle, got a trend continuation candle and strong confirmation yesterday's candle with this Maribozu, and today we're seeing the bulls pick up the bull essentially, and we're facing resistance at 26 moving average exponential at 84 USD at the moment. So again, similar story to Ethereum, except there's a lot less going on. It's just an EQ pattern with a higher low. There's no double tweezer bottom here or inside bar. So that's it for LTC. Again, histogram relatively flat. RSI has turned up and is just about to approach and cross the 50 mark, which would be an indication that things are a tiny bit more bullish, but nothing too crazy. Looking at Bitcoin Cash today, again, Bitcoin Cash has been playing all these levels. Again, another coin in EQ pattern, and probably a more stronger indication for a lower high being formed, just because the wick of today's candle, although again hasn't closed, you want to judge your decisions based on the close of these candles. The wick of this candle is a bit longer, a bit stronger, more like a hammer. Almost would be nice to see a doji, truth be told, or dragonfly doji. And but that's just showing us where the shift in momentum is going. So we had the sell-off, indecision right here with a neutral, almost perfect indecision doji, neutral doji. Then the Maribozu candle signaling the true confirmation of this downtrend. And we're seeing a bit of a bounce right here. So it's likely to face resistance at the 50-day moving average at $840 US. But again, we have an equilibrium pattern playing out. So I'm just going to remove this from the charts. We have the low right here, and we have the high right here. Now we have the higher low right here, which we can play with and give us some expectations moving forward. So we're seeing some price compression. So very quickly, just checking on some coins. The coins you asked for was Ethereum Classic. I noticed in the comments, looking at Ethereum Classic versus Bitcoin on Binance, we can see that we have a strong sell-off at the moment. Just zooming out, we can see bit of the story that's been going on. Managed to break below every single moving average quite significantly right here. Strong sell-off, and it looks like we're about to see the start of some price compression. So likely, interestingly enough, guys, is when a coin or asset or whatever you're charting breaks below a specific moving average or resistance level based on previous price history or around psychological, if you're in new price territory, when it's about to retest that level, the key thing to see is how it behaved the first time uh, you know, trading above or below that level. And it's likely if we have a break to the upside, we're going to smash above the 100-day but face resistance at the 50, which means we have an inside bar forming today, we have a higher low that's formed today, we have a strong lower wick on yesterday's candle showing momentum picking up. We have RSI moving to oversold territory, so very clear downward resistance right here. Histogram is just about to start trading flat. So what I'll be watching to see is likely this candle is going to close as an inside bar slash Harami candle, and then you want to see how close the opening close is for this candle, not the open close, the high and low is for this candle, and then we can see tomorrow's candle if we're going to see a break of that pattern. And if we do see a break to the upside, there could be some potential for an entry here for a trade, just because not a massive gain to be fair, but just because it smashed through the 100-day moving average quite casually. So Ethereum Classic is a kind of a waiting game, one to watch at the moment. But again, if you're looking for a buy opportunity, do remember it's going to be listed on Coinbase. So again, I am personally waiting for an entry on Ethereum Classic just because it's going to be listed on Coinbase. The next coin it seems to be that's going to be listed on Coinbase. So that's it for the TA section, guys. Going to move on to some news. So IBM confirms Stellar adoption is on the rise. How will it affect the coin? Okay, adoption. This is that's a bit of a silly statement, but adoption is positive for these cryptocurrencies long term. If we take a look at Stellar on CoinMarketCap right now, it's just surpassed Litecoin. It looks like Litecoin is really struggling. I mean, really struggling to show up. But it's important to see. It wasn't that Litecoin lost valuation, significant valuation. It's more that Stellar's been performing well recently. I'm just going to take a quick look at the charts for you guys, just to see what's happening. I know it's had a bit of a slowdown at the moment. Oops, that's not Stellar Lumens. That is something completely different. So it's really had a nice rally, double tweeze at top, bit of a sell-off. I'm going to use a Fib retracement just to see where it's consolidating, because gives a bit of an indication of how strong or significant this. There we go. Field Fib retracement, and we can see here that it's actually bouncing off the 0.5 Fib right here, which is a really useful level to pay attention to. And watching the close of this candle is important. So I'm assuming it's going to close at a 0.382 level and have alert at 0.58. That would be a trend continuation candle. Well, not a trend continuation candle. That would be a trend reversal candle. And it's a bit of a downside. So Stellar looks like it's going to be having some kind of continual upside action if the market shows some upside, just moving from oversold territory. But IBM is adoption is obviously good for the coin. So IBM, one of the top-notch American tech companies, confirmed the increased adoption of Stellar to excite the crypto world. In a recent interview with Fortune magazine, the senior vice president of IBM's global industries, Bridget Van Kralingen, affirmed it. According to a report by BCF Focus, Stellar has experienced another development by joining the arsenal of KuCoin. I don't think that's very significant. What's more significant is, I covered in the last video, Stellar has a USD pairing, the first fiat pairing for this cryptocurrency, which is a massive hurdle for any cryptocurrency that doesn't have Stellar a fiat pairing. But more importantly, Stellar has some really significant partnerships. They're partnered with IBM. I can't remember. I've done a review on Stellar, but they're a serious project. They're based on similar technology compared to Ripple, except they're not targeting the banking sector. They're not targeting trying to get on board as many banks as possible. Stellar is like the Ripple for the people kind of cryptocurrency, so to speak. So secondly, a recent announcement is made about Stellar's association with Dala Foundation, a significant emerging markets with decentralized financial system. The future plan of Dala involves Stellar application in a surrounding of multiple blockchain technology. This results in an instant and low-cost payment for the consumers of the market. These continuous and consecutive optimistic results are reasons to elate the crypto enthusiasts supporting Stellar. Of course it is, obviously, but most crucially is that this coin's on the verge of a Coinbase listing potentially. has a fiat pairing, has adoption, but has partnerships with some major companies like IBM. It makes sense this coin, at least in the short to mid-term, is going to be seeing some decent upside. So, moving on, big news for Coinbase. Just quickly dragging all my Coinbase news into one part. So, Facebook restores Coinbase crypto ads, no intent to block legitimate companies. So, Facebook has basically reversed their ban on cryptocurrency ads, more specifically ads that are going to be providing actual value, not scammy ICOs, or unlikely to be any ICOs on the Facebook platform, most likely to be exchanges, most likely to be adverts targeting people for jobs as well in the crypto space. So just very quickly, the CEO of Coinbase has just announced that the platform has just been approved to display ads on the largest social media platform in the world, Facebook. As the market began to run last year, so the cryptocurrency ad sightings, with dozens, if not hundreds, of cryptocurrency companies promoting their product via any social media platform available to the public. However, it quickly became apparent to social media firms and consumers alike that there was a growing issue with cryptocurrency-related scams and schemes publicizing their products to a naive audience. So Facebook had a ban, Twitter has a ban. Can't remember who else has a ban. I think Google Ads have a ban as well. No, they don't, because I see Google Ads all the time for crypto products, crypto-related products. But see, this is really good news, okay? Because what's happening now is there's going to be exposure to the largest and most likely easiest to use on ramp in the cryptocurrency space to everyone that uses the Facebook platform. I'm not entirely sure how many people use Facebook, but I'm pretty sure Coinbase is going to use extremely targeted marketing, because Facebook, whether you like it or not, has a massive amount of data and behavioral data behind people. They even know how much you earn based on your friends, based on your interests and how you post. So, which is actually quite crazy to consider. But what this does mean is that Coinbase is going to be able to provide exposure to the crypto space again. There's going to be everyone that's heard about cryptocurrencies already, and it's going to resurface in people's consciousness, either subconscious or not. So it's important to kind of pay attention to this, because it means it's one of the underlying currents that kind of can help drive adoption in the space as a whole, but more importantly, can help improve the rise and usage, and not rise in usage, but mostly positive price action in the space, more people participating in the space. It's interesting because obviously if people are heading to Coinbase or their Rev cryptocurrencies, they're probably thinking about making money, which isn't ideal. I think so. There's nothing. So just very quickly, there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money from the cryptocurrency space. I think that is the first kind of way for people to kind of wet their beak or get a taste for what the space is, and that's absolutely fine. But there's going to be seems to be a transitionary period where people start to get actually interested in technology, actually interested in what these projects do, and it kind of opens their eyes to the potential of blockchain technology, it being quite a game changer. And from there, it can even grow out to be something more. But this is a big deal, and it's good that Coinbase have their ban reversed. So it's going to be interesting what other platforms are going to be able to provide targeted ads on Facebook, because if Coinbase is the only crypto platform to be able to do so, other exchanges are going to be suffering. Next up, speaking of Coinbase, this is probably the biggest piece of news we've seen in a long time, at least in regards to how things are going to, the future of cryptocurrencies in the United States. So Coinbase has established a political action committee with plans to spend on US elections. So it's the Coinbase PAC. If you aren't aware of what a PAC is basically a group of people that help through money, because money speaks, helps not lobby but push their own interests through political system in the States, because there's a lot of money that is involved in the political system when you're trying to get anything done. Sometimes it requires lobbyists, and this is the first, as far as I'm aware, the first crypto-based PAC that has any legitimate clout, and it's coming from a major company. Of course, they're doing this to serve their own interests first and foremost, but most importantly, this could change how the perception of cryptocurrencies appear in the States. At the moment, citizens in the pardon me, citizens in the United States aren't entirely able to participate in some ICOs, which if they did want to, I think is a bit unfortunate. It's just due to KYC, anti-money laundering laws, but also just when it comes to even the smallest things like you know regulation. I'm not saying regulations are small, but just how different states respond and react to cryptocurrencies. And I've spoken about how Wyoming is kind of it's positioned themselves to be a crypto hub. I don't know how since they've openly tried to welcome cryptocurrencies, I don't know how well that's been going since we've covered that story on the channel, but it's actually really important to understand. So it's going to help form government policy, and it can help educate as well, because a lot of the people that I've noticed that speak negatively on cryptocurrencies have a very archaic view on the cryptos and just saying they're a scam, they're the worst thing in the world. We need to stop. We need to ban Bitcoin. We need to ban cryptocurrencies as a whole. And it's quite funny reading these senators and these American politicians say this, and you see them publicly saying it on Twitter, and it's kind of they're either virtue signaling to someone that's paying their bills, or a particular demographic, or a particular what they perceive their constituents to kind of want. But regardless, it's hilarious to see. But this is the first signs of a shift in a positive long-term direction for the United States, and that's a massive market. Next up, let's quickly talk about Monero. Okay, and I really like this Reddit post because I'm a fan of Monero. It's my privacy coin of choice when it comes to holding a privacy coin. And I've seen some criticisms of Monero saying it's not being put on Coinbase, not listed on Coinbase. I expected Monero to be listed on Coinbase. I don't see why it's not going to be listed on Coinbase. But more importantly, Zcash was the first privacy coin to be listed on Coinbase, which demonstrates there is actually potential for Monero to be listed as well, because there's no reason why privacy coins can't be listed on one of the probably the most scrutinized exchanges with regards to regulations when it comes to AML and KYC. So the point this Redster made was that it's actually a good thing that Monero is not listed on Coinbase, because one, there's two ways to look at it. One is the first thing is that you don't really want Monero to be listed on Coinbase in a rush at the compromise of the current technology. So they don't want to compromise the strength of the privacy aspects of Monero, which I can go into in a separate video at some point. It's a very interesting project. But you have to understand that there are different features to these privacy coins, and they all tackle privacy on a different level. And one of the points was Z addresses with Zcash, and that is highly unlikely that Z address is going to be implemented via Coinbase with Zcash. So really, what Zcash would be is just a means to buy and sell Zcash, but not actually use Zcash in an actual useful sense. So Monero is focusing on actual adoption. It's focusing on doing things properly, and when it is listed on an exchange, be it Coinbase, be it any other major exchange, that it's going to have all the functionality intact, as opposed to some of the functionality of the privacy. And the issue is, guys, you have to remember these privacy coins go in complete opposite direction that any kind of financial authority wants when it comes to personal sovereignty, when it comes to being able to track people's transactions. Having a privacy coin that is basically untraceable it means it stifles it means that the government, when it comes to taxing people, they're concerned. When it comes to fraud, they're concerned. When it comes to actual spending this for drugs or whatever, they're concerned. And they should be right to have some concern, because these technologies are actually really revolutionary in the fact that since cryptocurrencies have existed, or before cryptocurrencies, there hasn't really been a way to have complete private transactions. Not to say Monero is completely private or privacy coins are completely private. There's always at some point a way to track who is sending and receiving this money. If you're buying Monero, send Monero on an exchange like Coinbase, you've already provided your address, your passport, etc., etc. So Coinbase know you're buying Monero at least, so you're going to come under great scrutiny if, for whatever reason, some kind of government or anyone wanted to pay attention to what you're doing. So it would likely raise a flag. But it's important to kind of pay attention to the project's response and the development team's response as well to criticisms like this. And this is a chap's not from the development team, but I think it's a really sound thing that Monero is just chugging along and actually being utilized in a very fair way. So some interesting developments coming to Monero in the future as well. Next up, so US Federal Reserve Chairman says Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are not significant threats. And this is something we've known for quite some time. They're basically saying, based on this Bloomberg report, that US Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell firmly believes that the burgeoning virtual currency ecosystem doesn't have what it takes to pose a threat to the country's finance system. During testimony before the House Financial Services Committee on July 18th, the highly reputed Republican and alumnus of Princeton University made it clear that there are more significant issues on the Fed's table than the blockchain-based currencies. And all you need to do to kind of confirm this is to look at the market cap. The $280 billion market cap okay? I think what's gold? $8 trillion is the gold market cap. Yeah, this crypto space isn't an issue. So when people do speak out negatively against it, saying we need to ban it, it's the worst thing since whatever. It's focusing and drawing attention to something that is so minor, so ridiculously small. Because realistically, guys, we are really early to this space, technological space. Yes, lots of opportunity here from a financial making money standpoint, but just from a delivering value standpoint to the world, which is kind of what you really need to focus on when it comes to long-term investing and investing, not so much trading, but long-term investing. What potential do the projects we invest in have to provide real value to the world? We're very, very early, so it's very nice to see this, because this probably means going to have less of a vice grip and negative implications on the crypto space as a whole. Kind of eases everyone's thoughts and views in the crypto space, that are participating in the crypto space, which means more likely to be able to trade freely or be more optimistic rather with the market. So news like this is always good. Next up, so CoinMarketCap is changing policies and design again to reduce trading volume fraud. So there's a few exchanges, there's been a few reports, specifically Huobi is one that's been culprit to this, where there's been wash trading and spoofing on exchanges to basically pump up the volume of specific cryptocurrencies on their exchange, to either provide people with an idea or expectation that they can use this specific exchange to trade their cryptocurrency of choice, or pick up this cryptocurrency of choice, because there'll be less slippage or there's more action on it. So generally speaking, guys, if we want to take a look, we can use Bitcoin as an example here. It could be a useful tool. Or actually, so Bitcoin has a $4.9 billion trading volume. It's on many markets. So you go to CoinMarketCap, we go to Bitcoin markets, we can see it's mostly traded on Binance versus USD Tether, then Finex, then OKX, ZB.com. That's a Q10 pairing actually. Then Huobi. Okay, so we can see next to these exchanges the trading volume, and we can see you have varying amounts of trading volume on here. Okay, surprisingly enough, Coinbase only has $74 million worth of trading volume. Coinbase Pro. But what you have to bear in mind is when it comes to volume and liquidity, I'll type in some random characters. So Grosso coin. We'll take a look at this. 2 million trading volume, okay? When you start picking up these coins, or more specifically trading these coins on exchanges where they have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of trading volume, that means the order book's thinner. That means when you do place an order, less likely to get filled. You could be waiting a longer time to get your order filled, or if it does get filled, for example, if you're placing a big order and it has to be filled by smaller fills, there's likely to be a lot of slippage, which basically means the gaps between your price and the actual price you want to pay for it and the actual price that it gets filled for, because there is a difference. It means that you're losing money whether you're buying or selling your cryptocurrency of choice. So, fake exchange volume is pumping up the activity in the market. I don't think it's pumping activities to such a significant extent that it's changing the 24-hour volume market cap, 24-hour volume too much. It's likely to just be, at best $1 million to $2 million worth of volume. But if that's already, if they're always doing the, if that's always going on in the background, which it is for some of these exchanges, then it doesn't really matter because we're always measuring at the same metric. So, for example, if there's $2 billion worth of fake volume in these exchanges at all time, then it doesn't matter if the 24-hour volume is 14 billion or 12 billion. It's actually just 10 or 12 billion dollars worth of trading volume, and that way we're still measuring the difference, which is what we really care about, which is the difference. Because of course, lower trading volume days basically means the market's going very bearish, lack of interest, tighter range trading, maybe flat trading, and increasing volume, of course, means that there's uptick in the market, likely to be a lot of price action across the board. So something to bear in mind. But this is needed from CoinMarketCap because they are probably the leading website when it comes to ranking coins. There are some others out there, but truth be told, most people look at CoinMarketCap because it's just easiest user interface, nice and plain, easiest to use. So just very quickly, we'll go over a few points from this. The most recent trend, which has been inflating crypto exchange volume, is transaction fee mining, where exchanges compensate fees with their native exchange tokens. Transaction fee mining incentivizes wash trading, oftentimes with trading bots, so users can get as many tokens as possible. Wash trading is when a user opens multiple accounts and trades against themselves just to generate more volume. This has resulted in several exchanges rocketing to the top of CoinMarketCap, including Coinbase and BitZ. Also, usually top crypto exchanges require a cryptocurrency to have a certain amount of volume to remain listed. For some crypto projects, conduct wash trading just to remain listed. This inflates the overall volume of the exchange. Apparently, crypto exchanges have been wash trading just to get listed on CoinMarketCap, because up to now, CoinMarketCap has had the minimum volume requirements to be listed. The biggest change CoinMarketCap is making is to remove the minimum volume requirement, so there'll be no more incentive for inflating trading volume just to get listed. However, CoinMarketCap will evaluate all exchanges before listing them to make sure they are legitimate. This change has already been implemented and now 212 crypto exchanges are listed on CoinMarketCap. So I think this is a very good move from CoinMarketCap. It's going to be better for the space. And obviously, guys, if you're operating if you're looking for exchanges to trade a specific more niche coin, obviously go with the exchange that has the most trading volume versus a pairing that you can actually use. So that way you can stay nice and safe. That was just a meme I found. Next up, so I've got a piece of news, another big piece of news from Coinbase. It's all about Coinbase today, guys. So Coinbase on for a $20 billion hedge fund. CEO enters Forbes under 40/40 list. So who cares about CEO entering Forbes 40 under 40? More importantly, Coinbase through a tertiary company I think they've acquired hedge funds. So just very quickly, according to Business Insider, Coinbase has launched a new prime brokerage service for hedge funds with a crypto unicorn attracting unnamed $20 billion hedge fund. So they've not named which hedge fund, but it's $20 billion size. So prime brokerage is an administration ordinarily provided by investment banks to hedge investments, with the prime broker dealing with the operational parts of exchanging. It permits hedge funds to lend from Coinbase without security or collateral, after which they can exchange on various cryptocurrency trades without cutting off a balance or dealings with private keys. Making this the latest move from Coinbase, is trying to provide the infrastructure for institutional investors following the entrance of many Wall Street firms into crypto trading. In the coming days, Coinbase may likely give best execution administrations where they can help investments with the appropriate exchanges. So this is absolutely fantastic. We're getting institutional money entering the space essentially, and it's via Coinbase. We know we have Coinbase custody as well. Essentially, guys, institutional money is trickling into the space. Again, when an ETF drops, it's likely that we're going to have a massive jump or amount of money flowing into the space in the coming months after that. So we're going to expect a rally, strong rally. But all that being said, institutional money is here already. It's been here from the individual perspective. It's now coming in the form of hedge funds, and Coinbase isn't the only one that's having institutional money into the space. There are dark pools, there are over-the-counter trading where these major players are actually entering the space. So they're getting their hands on crypto any way they can, and now they have a more legitimate means to do so via Coinbase. So pretty big news. The last piece of bullish news as well. So CME reports that Bitcoin futures average daily volume is up 93% in the second quarter. Why is this significant if they're not trading, if it's cash settled futures rather than, that these customers aren't actually holding Bitcoin? It basically demonstrates the interest and uptick in the crypto markets. And if we take a look at Google Trends, in fact, let's go to Google Trends, Bitcoin. We go to Google Trends, we're probably going to see a bit of an uptick in Bitcoin. Haven't actually tested this, but assuming so. Interest over time, okay, a marginal uptick. Don't know how these values are calculated, but I was wrong. Sorry guys, I was wrong. That's fine. But it's important that it's important to actually pay attention to Google Trends actually, because I check in every once in a while. When we start to see people say buy Bitcoin, how do you buy Bitcoin? Then it's probably a good time to consider selling at some point, relatively soon. But we're not there yet. But it's important to pay attention to Bitcoin futures because it does gauge interest. It's probably because CME futures it's not massive amounts of trading volume on that exchange, not on the exchange, on a not massive amount of trading volume in general on with Bitcoin futures. Probably not having such an impact I would actually expect in terms of the market, but it's important to gauge interest of where people are headed when focusing on futures trading. Apologies guys, pretty tired here, so I'm going to move to comment section. I'm going to skip this one and get straight to the comment section. Okay, so comment from Napkin Man number 7. Banks don't care about money laundering, they care about criminals. Don't need to launder money, launder it through them anymore. Exactly, and that's a very good comment. Funny enough, if you look at what HSBC did with the drug cartels. Brad Bankman says, "Hi James, always catch up with your posts when you have time. Appreciate your work and your view on the market. Thank you as always. Thumbs up and hearts, good sir." Whippet01 says, "You know what? I used to like your channel back then. You were good, but now you're just shilling EOS non-stop. You make it obvious that you're invested in it." Well, I am invested in EOS. I'm not shilling EOS. If anyone's going to say I'm a shill, it's likely to be Neo, VeChain, Ontology, and ICX, because those are coins I don't shut up about. But the reason why I was talking about EOS in the last video was the technology. I wasn't actually talking about it from an investment standpoint. I wasn't talking about it from a let's make money from EOS. It's important to pay attention to how these third generation blockchains are performing with regards to technology, and it's important to pay attention to the fact that EOS now has 2,800 transactions per second on their blockchain, or reported to have, or close to 2,400. Now, what I also said, which you probably didn't digest or didn't realize, because you think I'm shilling EOS all the time, is that Zilliqa, with less nodes, with less uptick, with just their test net, is already doing that. So my actual point was pay attention to Zilliqa. It's great that EOS is what's happening with EOS is had a rocky start. Still, with regards to what they're providing in terms of technology, there's an element of there's a trade-off with regards to decentralization and immutability with delegated proof of stake and how they're operating. I do think that Ethereum is still the top dog despite them having issues, but more importantly, take a look at these other blockchains that are already delivering on the transactions per second that these top blockchains are. So like I said, Zilliqa with 300 odd nodes, and remember with the Zilliqa project, the more nodes that they add, in theory, the faster blockchain gets, more transactions per second. They already have sharding implemented. EOS is, what's the max it's going to reach? Maybe it could, on-chain base layer scaling, it's going to be able to reach maybe 5 to 10,000 transactions per second before we need second scaling solution of side chaining. Okay, look at Zilliqa, or look at these other projects like high throughput blockchain, I think high performance blockchain. They're already ahead of the game, and that was my actual point. So I'm not actually super bullish on EOS. I think there's an opportunity right now because it's had a sell-off, but I'm more bullish on VeChain, Neo, Ontology, and these other blockchains. I did mention how the statistics that the delegated proof of stake blockchains, which is my other point, with Steemit, BitShares and EOS are ranked 1 to 3 when it comes to actual usage and adoption for a blockchain. That's important to pay attention to, guys, because that's actually a really important way to gauge how Predict is doing. But more importantly, my other point was delegated proof of stake. Is that the future of the future consensus method that's actually going to be delivering? Because there's Cardano, which I would argue Cardano is probably in a more significant position to make gains from. You know, we had Charles Hodgkinson's essentially say recently that Cardano is going to be $1 trillion cryptocurrency, which, you know, if you look at that, the current price right now, $16, I could see Cardano being $1 trillion market cap at some point. I doubt it's going to be the largest market cap cryptocurrency. I doubt it's going to be number one, but you know, there's no denying that delegated proof of stake as a technology is doing pretty well. It's doing interesting things. We're seeing, you know, these blockchains actually being stress tested. You have to remember that these aren't niche blockchains. This isn't like a Steemit where the platform can be actually really controlled with what's implemented on it. This is more open and broad, so there's more potential for bad things to go wrong. So anyway, that's my extremely defensive statement. But perhaps I am shilling EOS unconsciously, but that's not my intention to. Always make your own trading and investing decisions, guys. You know, I am just one man with an opinion on the internet talking about cryptocurrencies passionately. You know, I always say get varying opinions from different people. Don't just listen to me. Always do your research and due diligence. And everyone has their own opinion. And you know, I'm sure you have yours, and it's just as valid. You know, if you don't like EOS, that's fine. No worries. I don't understand why an exchange has both USDT and USD pairings, nor do I, good sir. Why someone would trade in USDT and not just USD? At least if your trade goes wrong, you'll still have your dollar. Exactly. This is exactly how I feel as well. Half man, half cat. I completely agree. It seems unnecessary to use USDT pairings. It seems very risky. Could you do TA on Ethereum Classic? I just recently added a position. Not only do I like the fundamentals, Coinbase news, digital scarcity aspect, but the TA looks good. Like a good opportunity to add in right now. Yeah, I actually have to say it. I mean, I'm still waiting. Not screaming out to me, but I mean it's not terrible either. I think we have the inside bar, right? Yeah, I mean it looks like it's in a zone that's likely to be, you know, pretty decent. It's just low ball volume. We need blockchain drag races every month. That'd be quite funny to test the networks. Appreciate the hard effort. We really appreciate your efforts and hard work, mate. Thumbs up and muscle flex fist bumps. Thank you, good sir. A VeChain 1 to 100 will increase Thor production. Hopefully do the same as Neo in the next years. I actually agree, good sir. That'd be pretty sweet. Thank you, James, says Andy Chan. Sorry, guys. Need some water. Thanks for reminding about VeChain, James. It's slipped my to-do list. So, thumbs up and heart. Looks like Zencash forming a cup and handle and price action. Can you do another tier in Zencash? Absolutely. I just need to pause the mic as I cough. One sec, guys. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, Zencash. My eyes are watering like crazy. I have some really big things coming to the channel, guys. Very excited. It's going to be a complete channel overhaul. So get ready. That's why I've been a bit quiet. I've been a bit quiet because of personal reasons, but I've also been throwing myself into work as well. So, okay, this looks like a really nice chart, actually, guys, for Zencash. It also looks like it's a few steps ahead of Ethereum Classic, because Ethereum Classic had a very similar pattern playing out. Adam and Eve, sorry, cup and handle playing out, and then we saw a sell-off. It looks like at the moment we're about to see a nice break to the upside. There's a bit of indecision here though, so it does depend on how this candle closes, and we've seen some profit taking. But if you want to just take a quick look at the neck, there's a cup. Well, actually, truth be told, the cup and handle's here. That's the first cup and handle. We have a cup, then we have the handle, and the breakout, which we've had, but we also have a cup here, and we need bit of a handle to start forming. So a bit of sideways trading would be nice. It can. What's very interesting with this coin is we have 100, 200, 12 moving average, and a previous resistance and support level, all in the same range at 35,000 satoshis. And why it's significant is it basically showing us that we're very likely to find support on this level. Now, we have an indecision candle right here, but that being said, I mean, it is kind of screaming out to us that we're likely to see a bounce to some upside moving forward. So looks pretty good. Is teetering on overbought territory, and we have been rejected from 90 RSI. Histogram is trending slightly downwards, so you do have to kind of wait and see. But this looks like a very interesting chart. I'd wait again, see how today's candle closes, or alternatively, if you don't want to wait, you can kind of pay attention to how the volume is playing out on the shorter term time frames, and kind of look at what if we're seeing a strong increase in bull volume on these moves up, and low volume these moves down. But looks like things are kind of looking bullish for this chart, guys. So thanks so much for watching the videos. Really do appreciate it. Please leave a comment in the box below what content you want to see, because now, again, I'm trying to come up with content archetypes for types of styles of videos that you'd be likely to find beneficial or interested in, and then after the channel overhaul, I'm going to be dropping that content on the regular. Going to be doing more live streams. Going to be, again, like I said, posting to Instagram TV and Instagram, just because it's another platform and another way for you guys to digest content. I'll try and see. And of course, I have a second channel, and that's going to have segmented versions of the daily video as well. So if you want to just see some news very quickly, or see something that's more, a single point, then you can take a look at that. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, best way to do so is like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to learn technical analysis, we have a course, link in the description box below. Check out the links below, guys. Hope you have an amazing day. I shall see you very soon in the next video. Wishing you guys all the best.